Here we go, guys. What's going on? It's Tabby Cat. What's up? It's getting a little far with some cranking outside. People I live with don't like it. Still legal though. Whatever. What can you do? What can you do? Well, some would say, move out. Good point. But that's assuming everything that's going on is normal. Okay, so that aside, pretty much stuck here for a while. Now, welcome to the Temple of One. I am the Tabby Cat, of course. And what I'm about to say is different. Nobody likes it because it goes against their constructed view of indoctrinated religion. In other words, it's just like their education. It's been beaten into their heads so long that that's all they really know and understand, and it's kind of hard for them to see out of that. So if you believe wholeheartedly that your one guy up there is the only one up there, this video probably isn't for you. But if you're far enough to get through this, we might have an army. Because they're coming for us. The devil worshippers and Satanists, they're coming for us. They've built a huge army. Huge army. And if you don't believe in Satanism, that's irrelevant. If you don't think a lot of people do, you're right, but that's still irrelevant. Because the people in positions of power believe in it and perform the traditions. And given that we live in a material world, those who are at the top of the ladder, so to speak, financially speaking, are at the top of the ladder in everything. Don't forget about title, forget about president, forget about prime minister. Those guys are one, maybe not one. That's putting them too high. They're like 10 steps down the ladder. They make good salary, but they don't make the millions that the bank heads make. Not at all. The banks run shit. Think Obama makes any decisions? And you got somebody giving you $1 billion over the course of 5 to 6 years. That's one person. That's one supporter. One entity. And a multitude of others combined to make one giant one that controls over everything. And that's how the world used to be. The world used to be a bunch of people working for good, combining together to protect each other and the world. But what's happened over the years is certain people, by influences either physically or spiritually, or both, cause them to flip the switch completely. Not only did they go evil, but they went to disconnect everybody. People used to be good and connected. Now everybody's evil for the most part in terms of how they treat each other, but that's because they're disconnected. Think of it. Your closest friend, you go to the depths of the world for them. But why not for your fellow man? You're supposed to have love and respect for him, treat him as thy neighbor. But who really trusts their neighbor anymore? Who really, would you go to your neighbor for anything before the government? Probably not. You wouldn't go to your best friend before the government for most things. It's fucking sick. It's disgusting. It creates slovenly sloths who just don't even know what the fuck is going on in terms of their own head. They don't even know where their head is at. They can't even think for themselves. So what do? They just slop around in front of the TV. Or in front of their meal. It's disgusting. I hate it. I mean, look at anything natural. And people get this sense of wonder and excitement, and you see yourself riding off in the sunset on a white horse, you know. But what world do we live in? We live in a fucking prison cell. You can't see it. But think of it. Think of the prison. It's the cycle. You wake up, you go to work, you work for this guy, you work for that guy, you work for this guy, you work for this, you work for that. You do this so you can look this way. You do this so people can think you're this. You do that so you're this. A slave. Not in the sense that you can't make some choices. You can choose what you eat. You can choose what color your hair is. You can choose what car you drive. For the most part, you can maybe choose where you live if you kind of make enough money to get a good enough loan. But we're completely dependent for the most important things: our power, our food. Who grows their own food? The ranchers who we pay to send all their shit off. They're barely eating. People who are making food are barely eating. I'm not talking about those big farms you see on the street. I'm talking about people. I'm not talking about corporations. You see, they legally made corporations people. So now they've been treated as such. And now they're being represented as such. More than ever. But it was sometime in the 90s when they passed a law making corporations people in terms of most protection of the government. They have First Amendment rights. That's why they're allowed to donate money to presidential campaigns, which is disgusting. The people don't run the show anymore. When you got somebody handing over $1 billion to an everyday Joe like you and me, which is what Obama was, been turned into some scumhead, but that's what happens. You either go along or you die. Sick. Absolutely disgusting. And who supports it? We do. We do. By not standing up, by not refusing what the hell is going on. We don't have to accept this shit. That's what the Constitution is for. If everybody writes to their congressmen and senators that they want secession, they have to respond. See, Congress used to be able to control the army and the finances. Why? Because Congress is basically directed by the people. These congressmen in the White House and the Senate, the representatives of the state, they're not supposed to be federally reprimanded and controlled. They're put in by the people. Same with the president. The president has executive power to override decisions. The only thing not controlled by a group of people is the Supreme Court, who makes the final decisions. It has to get through the people first to get to the people controlled by those in power. Come on now. This is disgusting. Nobody understands it. Because what are we taught in history class? We're taught in history class that everything was hunky-dory, and the Indians shook our hands as we fucking slaughtered them. It's disgusting. Absolutely sickening. I want to throw up every time I think about school. Whatever, I hope 2 people like this.